Hello and welcome back to my walkthrough to Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped here on the Insane Trilogy. In the last episode we completed World 1 and sort of described a bit as to what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be collecting relics until we complete the first 5 warp rooms, and then we'll start doing some relics. Then do a final episode of catch-up with regards to picking up the remaining gems and things like that that we've missed. And then we will be able to finish everything off. So as it is, we have some more levels to do, starting off here. Level 6 is Gee Whiz.
Why must you continue to be a thorn in our side?
Who? What? Where was I? Oh, Tiny was a good fellow. He hated everyone and everything, but a good heart nonetheless. Please be more reasonable with my minions next time.
So yeah, so we have Gee Whiz. This is a level that we can pretty much just race through. Should be able to get everything in, if I remember correctly. And then we have the steel crates, which can only be broken using a belly flop. This level was always interesting in that you can get 2 very early Akus. And then you have the mages there. Did they always disappear in one? I thought you spanned them once and they went down to their underwear, and then you had to hit them again. Maybe it's changed. But yeah, so obviously similar to our first level, very similar theme to Toad Village. There's one more of these sort of medieval type levels, and that's in the 3rd warp room. As well, so. And I think this is also the one where we start to sort of really see the, or at least it's the game where you start to see the lab assistant really coming to their own as an actual character. So obviously the lab assistant is, we'll see it later on, but essentially throughout, Cortex is populating these worlds with, you know, his minions. And the lab assistant is just the face of that minion every single time. So we see the same ones. We've already seen them. They're similar to the ones who have been throwing potions at us in levels past in Crash 1 and things like that. But we see a lot more of them in loads of different outfits in this game, which is always a nice touch. Still a little bit rusty with this, still not feeling 100% sort of like I'm back to where I'd normally be in terms of confidence with Crash, but that'll come with time, come with playing the game. It's still great to play this game. I do love that the Insane Trilogy allows you to do so with such beautiful graphics and all this stuff, because it is a freaking beautiful game at this point. Okay, so we've got 13 more boxes, most of which I imagine are nitros. in the speedrun, you want to obviously knock the dude into the nitros at the back there, so you don't have to hit the nitro crate. But there we finish our, our next level. I think we'll do Midnight Run next, just because that one is a level where having Aku will help. Midnight Run is not fun on a... obviously, it's the same sort of idea as Orient Express, except now it's at night. Still looks just as beautiful as before, but this one in terms of boxes is a little bit more frustrating, just because the level's that little bit more difficult. Yeah, I'm not. I think so. In the original game, it used to be that I think if you just tapped circle, then Puro would just start running away like a lunatic. And in this one, it looks like you need to hold it down. So obviously having an Aku would have helped in this one, but we've managed to throw it away rather quickly. But that's all okay. As again, interesting. There we go. Yeah, really? Okay. That's quite, like, in the original, if you were charging with Pure and you jumped, you'd sort of just end up going, you'd obviously go really high in the air. It's interesting that here, it looks like if you jump with Pure, you just go, it's not even like I'm going forwards that far. It might just be that I need to be a lot later with the jumping. It's certainly different. It feels a lot heavier, but I think in some ways part of that is oh, drat. I was not paying attention. Okay, Coco gets nice and as we get our first Pity Aku Aku. You've got to love the Pity Aku Aku after 5 deaths. I do like how Coco gets she gets far fewer cruel and violent deaths as Crash. Okay, we finally hit the checkpoint. So it does look like if I want to get a high jump, it should just be a case of... should just keep sprinting with, keep holding the sprint button down. So we get our first sort of wiggly dragons now. Whoops, that was an appalling jump. Way too early. And we missed that ammo. Wait, I was charging. So I guess that's another thing there. You see that like Pura does not get up to speed as quick as you would in the original. Again, it's just interesting. It's just interesting to see how the vehicle segments in particular, because like the actual Crash, I think, like the actual sort of platforming and that stuff, I think pretty much everyone is, like, there were very few criticisms of that. But there was just a general feeling that in a lot of the, in a lot of these vehicle segments, it was just different in a way that, you know, you just need that little bit more time to get accustomed to. I think that was, yeah, exactly the same thing there. Just needs to get accustomed to it, and that new sort of control system. Still, that is Midnight Run done. And seeing as we have now Aku, we might as well do Hog Ride now, which is another vehicle level, and one of the ones, I think this was pretty much the one that broke me last time. So you have to finish in first place in order to earn the power crystal. And weirdly enough, I think in this game, this one here, Hog Ride, is actually the hardest of the hardest of the bike levels to get everything done on sort of first time round. Because the other ones, you tend to, you know, they're a lot more. They're a lot longer. But in a lot of ways that actually helps, because it means that if you make a mistake, for example, you've just got a lot more time to catch up, and so here we're actually, yeah, we're not going to win the race. So we get the gem, but we don't get the crystal. And I mean, in a lot of ways, obviously, I was driving relatively conservatively there, in the sense that I wasn't extending those boosts from the track that much. But because it's the shortest one, because there's really not a lot that actually there. If you're not getting those boosts right, then it you know, then you are going to struggle, and it's not the easiest one to just sort of to fly through. Although, admittedly, I did not get a boost start last time, so that is something to for me to consider there. So the relic for this one is brutal in what it requires of you, and it's annoying because it's the sort of thing where, well, you give it to me on the PlayStation 1 version and I'd back myself to do it first time, and you give it to me on this version and actually it's really, really hard. Again, just slightly different controls, slightly different trigger points for in terms of how loose the control is and things like that. And it just changes how you play the game. It just changes how you approach things. But still, Hog Ride done, Midnight Run done, so that's 3 out of these 5. So we've got Tomb Time, and we have Hang 'em High. And Hang 'em High is one of my favourite levels in the game. I really liked the overall Arabian theme.
Dingodile's the name, and Uka and Cortex gave me orders to bring the crystal to them during the Ice Ages. So give me the goods and shove off, or I'll roast yous.
We'll say the hovering heads quite unsettling, especially from Dingodile's perspective there. But yeah, so Hang 'em High, one of my favourite levels in the game. This is an interesting one in the sense that even though we cannot get the we cannot get the yellow gem yet from this level. We will be able, we should at least, if I remember correctly, we should be able to get the clear gem for breaking all the boxes. I'm finding it interesting just because I think normally in this section I'd be invincible, just because I'm so used to coming to this level from G-Wiz, which has generally, you know, 2 pretty easy accus to hold on to. So you grab that accu early on and you're just zipping through it. Well, alongside the video, it's also worth mentioning that alongside the vehicle segments, the other thing that Wrath of Cortex obviously did not do very well was these climbing sections. The climbing speed was so ridiculously slow and painful in that regard that it was just very difficult to get through some of the levels in that game. It also meant the time trials just felt even more frustrating than they normally would, which is saying a lot for a Crash time trial. Okay, so this one I think we have one where we need to turn it into a TNT. We need to time it right. Yep. Because there's a life all the way up there, that would be very difficult to get otherwise. Still, slowly counting back up the lives, slowly getting back towards where we were before. At least before Midnight Run, let's put it that way. Come on. Come on, Crash. Go on, Crash. There we go. The other thing that this game really did was started to ramp up the comedic Crash deaths. We've already seen enemies in which, so the frog enemies in the so yeah, you've got the frog enemies in the medieval levels, which will turn you into a prince if you. They'll turn into a prince and forcibly kiss you if you run into them. You've got the guys who'll chop Crash in two. You've got in this level you've got these guys who'll drop a pot on you. You've got the genies which will turn you into a pot. There's so many different ways that they've decided to kill off our favourite Bandicoot. And it's great. It's absolutely great. So you saw in the background there a bunch of Wumpa fruit, or you might have done at least. That's where the gold gem path is, and that's unlocked from the secret warp room. From the you need 10 relics to unlock it, and doing so then allows you to get the gold gem from Hang 'em High. And the gold gem from Hang 'em High unlocks a secret path in another level. I think it is Dynamite, which is the first level of the next warp room. So the first of many Egyptian levels. We can get some lives here, I think, if you shoot Cortex in his Sphinx face right at the front there. So the main thing here is we can't. This is the first level where we can't get a gem. Reason being, the other path in this level is full of boxes. It's the first level in this game which you actually need to do some backtracking in order to complete everything. And I say you need to, but I think, if I remember correctly, there is actually a way through this where you don't need to. I might be right there. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure if you get the Death Tornado spin from Warp Room, if you get the thing from Warp Room 3, defeating that boss, I think you can make some sort of daredevil jumps and sort of skip part of, do some unintentional skips. There we go. That's the hard box to get in this bonus. And back we go. Okay, so as I say, we can't get all of the boxes in this level quite yet. We do need the purple gem, or at least some way of accessing the secret area with ease. I think the other thing with this game is that it definitely has, in having like stuff like the Death Tornado spin and things like that, it just has some of the most fun movement in the Crash games. So you can get 10-1 for fruit by jumping on that guy. But there's just nice touches like how you can trigger the switches in order to cause the platforms to come down and things like that. Okay, so you can see there is our purple gem route going down that way. And we don't get the purple gem, I think, until the 4th or 5th warp room, actually. So that was a poor jump. Come on. But later on in the game you can shoot these down with the fruit bazooka, but as of right now we just need to get the timing. There we go. Those flamethrowers always have much larger range than you think they would. So the other route comes in here, and I think if you do have a Death Tornado spin, you can sort of slide jump into a tornado spin over to the next set of platforms that way, and actually sort of just skip the need for the purple gem altogether, which is quite fun. But like using the Death Tornado spin well is part of what makes a lot of the adds to the challenge of the relics, especially. So we got our 10th crystal. No colored gems yet. So unlike Crash 1, where you have a few colored gems. Well, do you have any colored gems on that first? I think more like Crash 1 actually, you don't have any color gems on that first island, so we don't have any, we don't have access to the color gems in these first two. by Warp Room 3, we will be able to pick up some color gems and come back and pick up some more gems. But very much unlike Crash 2, where the first 2 levels in Crash 2 both have color gems.
Right. Now you've gone and done it. Them crystals are mine.
So you have our introduction to Penta Penguin. Gonna make toast. Damn it, that was falling. So you can, with some stylish jumps, you can actually jump over a lot of the middle bit there in order to access Dingodile very early. Like that. But then the big question is, can you get back out? But it's always nice to know that, you know, there are nice, fun little ways that you can sort of speed through it. The reason that I'm slide jumping is because I want to... Okay, there we go.
No worries. You'll soon be up against much worse.
You thrashed me, mate. So yeah, that felt easier almost than it normally does. Normally the phases where he's shooting fireballs up in the air and they're landing, they usually seem to, I feel like they're usually longer. And they usually move faster, so it's a lot harder to dodge them. But we managed to get through, which means we get access to Crash's first ever double jump. And this obviously just leads to even more flexibility in terms of what you might want to try and do in time trials. Now, the double jump is generally pretty slow, as you can see. But it's combining it with things like the slide and combining it with the spins that allow you to get some really nice movement going. Okay, well, that is it. That is 2 warp rooms down. That is 10 crystals collected, and I think we've got 9 gems so far. 9 out of 47. Great. So in the next episode, we are going to be heading over to Warp Room 3, where we have some very difficult levels, like Deep Trouble. In particular, High Time is not particularly easy either. And the nice thing about that is that I think we can get all the gems except for Dynamite, except for level 11. So a lot of fun awaiting us there in Warp Room 3. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you join me on the next, where, yeah, as I say, we take on Warp Room 3 and move on to the next boss there. See you in the next one.